When that big winter storm hit the valley back in January, most of us just thought of it as an inconvenience. Sure, traffic was slower, and several roadways were flooded. But we all just grabbed our umbrellas and went about our days.
Steady rain, and we're going to be continuing to checking all side drains.
Completely unaware of the county's agencies working behind the scenes to mitigate the storm's impact.
We're seeing hourly rainfall from a quarter to maybe a third of an inch an hour.
Remember, that storm brought in record amounts of rainfall. And Maricopa County Flood Control kept watch in the district's Alert Center.
ALERT stands for Automated Local Evaluation in Real Time.
The county's alert system gathers weather information from gauges placed at more than 300 flood control stations, from Prescott to Gila Bend.
They tell us how much it rains, they tell us how much it floods, and we build over time a record of what's happened.
The flashing lights on this map let flood control know when field sensors detect some activity. For example, red means it's raining at a flood control station. Green means there is water flowing. If a gauge measures amounts that exceed a predetermined value, an alarm goes off in the alert center.
Another wind alarm, this time at Bartlett Lake, gust over 40 miles an hour.
Keeping an eye on storms is a big deal in Maricopa County because desert flooding literally happens in a flash.
And we need to know very quickly when something happens.
In some cases, flood control has minutes to respond. Take the Powder House Wash near Wickenburg. There are a couple of dozen homes near that wash. Flood control has a monitoring station about a half a mile upstream, and they keep a close eye on it when there's a big storm.
So we have 30 minutes from when we start detecting rain to make a decision on whether or not to get law enforcement there to watch those houses.
Of course, flood control is only one of the agencies involved with emergency response in Maricopa County.
We're pushing information forward that we collect so that the decision makers can make those decisions that are necessary to keep the folks safe.
The county's Emergency Management Department opens the EOC, the Emergency Operations Center, whenever there's a crisis in Maricopa County.
We're the umbrella that coordinates and brings several disciplines together. During significant events such as the storms we're dealing with today, there are several response agencies involved. We are here to support the response efforts out in the valley. And we provide those resources as jurisdictions and as responses exceed their local capability.
Emergency management works closely with federal and state governments, as well as local jurisdictions, to deploy whatever is needed during a crisis.
By working together in a unified command structure, they can better apply the resources, increase response time, decrease those effects to life and property.
Yeah, they sent people out to monitor the dams.
Emergency management frequently holds emergency response drills for big events like a flu pandemic or an accident at Palo Verde nuclear power plant. But the EOC can kick into action for more isolated events like a power outage or a flood. Of course, January's storm was anything but isolated.
The entire county is affected and the entire state. And resources could get tight throughout the state because it's just not a localized event. It is occurring throughout.
And that's why it's so important for agencies to collaborate.
Traffic Management Center, this is Barbara.
Even McDOT, the Maricopa County Transportation Department, plays a role in the county's emergency response.
Riggs Road closed between Hawes and Ellsworth.
McDOT continually monitors about 140 traffic cameras, watching for things like accidents.
Litchfield and Olive's about ready to get flooded out.
And on this day, flooding. It's a valuable tool for managing traffic.
That's going to be their priority, is getting the roads closed so you don't have motorists going into it.
Maricopa County is continually planning, building infrastructure, and coordinating exercises, looking for the best ways to respond during a crisis. And January's storm put several plans to the test.
This is a huge event for us, and probably the most significant part of it is it's a way to test what we've done for so long and a way to find out shortfalls for the plans for the future.
The good news is everything worked as planned, and although much of the work went unseen, we should all be thankful that there are county agencies looking out for our well-being.
I know in this time of cuts, it's difficult to determine what should be cut, what not, but this is the umbrella insurance policy to minimize the impact for jurisdictions for the taxpayer.
If we save one person who would have otherwise drowned, or one house that its contents had otherwise been demolished, then we're calling it good.
We all play a role in emergency preparedness, experts recommend, we have a plan to be alone and on our own for at least 72 hours. Does your family have a plan? You can find tips on how to prepare an emergency plan at any of these county websites.